me into the field of elder abuse was when I was at the University of Calgary. A person who was running the Justice Center, Dr. Horney, came to me and said, we're putting in a grant to do research on elder abuse. And I said, elder abuse? I don't know anything about elder abuse. Oh, he says, but we need a gerontologist. So I said, fantastic, but I don't know anything. Anyway, so we did this big grant for the province of Alberta. And then after we did the grant, they started the Butterworth series on aging, if you recall, the demography and retirement and pensions and so on. And so they came to me and they said, would you mind writing a book on elder abuse? And this was about 1991. And I thought, wow, I hardly know anything. So they said, well, you know what support you need will help, blah, blah. So I took the research, and then I really seriously got into researching the whole issue. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is really bad, really bad. And the word wasn't big at the time in the field anywhere. Like when I was a practicing social worker back in the 1970s, 1980s, nobody talked about elder abuse. You would see things like people being pushed around or hurt, but there wasn't a word that you could put on it, and you just went, that's bad. So I got into it, and I really got into it and realized that this was a horrendous issue. And so I thought, every free moment I get for my program of research, I'm going to work on this, because I'd like to end it. I got recruited to the University of Toronto, and I thought I'll go for 5 years. And they wouldn't let me teach gerontology. I was teaching research. I was teaching social work practice. I thought, oh my goodness, this is not what I want to do, because I'm a committed gerontologist. And so finally, I argued long and hard enough that they started letting me teach. They wouldn't allow a course on elder abuse at the time. So I thought, well, I'll just fill my course up with at least 3 or 4 weeks of elder abuse. And I was glad I did, because social work students run into this all the time. Like, social workers are in the front lines. So anyway, they started getting into it and coming back to me and saying, we've seen abuse at this institution and that institution and these home visits. And so I got more and more caught up in it. Then I became the director of the Institute for the Life Course in Aging, and then I was on my own, and I could do what I wanted, which was great. So at that time, I applied for a number of research grants and got a number of research grants, because at the time, the truth is we didn't know that much about elder abuse. I mean, we talked a lot, and we did lots of qualitative, in-depth stuff, which was really helpful so we could understand, but we never had any sense of how big or how bad the problem was. And I'd hear people stand up and say 15% of Canadians are abused, and I go, you're going to scare the whole population. That's not true. But we need better numbers. So, and ultimately I ended up getting involved with everybody, this whole international team, to do one of the first things, which was to develop measures of elder abuse, so that we could actually find out in this country how bad the problem is. So that's where we're at now, and it's really an exciting project, and we have to thank the government for their vision.